times have you set out to change something in your life? Maybe a habit, a routine, or even a way of thinking, only to find yourself slipping back into the old pattern before you know it. It's frustrating, right? You know what you want, you can see the benefits clearly, but still something resists. And here's what I want you to hear. You don't resist change, your brain does. And once you understand why, the whole process feels less like a personal failure and more like biology you can work with. In this conversation, we're going to explore the real reason change feels so hard, what part of your brain is responsible for pushing back, and a simple way to soften that resistance so that you can move forward with less, well, friction. Because lasting change doesn't come from fighting your brain, it comes from teaching it a new way to feel safe. So let's get into what's really happening when you try to change. The part of your brain at the center of this is the thalamus. Think of it as like a gatekeeper. Every bit of sensory information passes through it, and its job is to decide, is this familiar or unfamiliar? Safe or unsafe? And here's the catch. The thalamus has a built-in bias. So if something is new or unfamiliar, it assumes it might be unsafe, even if it's a positive change. So when you start to try a new morning routine or change how you respond in a stressful situation, your brain doesn't evaluate the benefits first. It evaluates the novelty, and novelty by default feels like a risk. That's why your old patterns feel so sticky. They might not be ideal, but they're familiar, and to your brain, familiar equals safe. So it isn't laziness, it isn't weakness, it's the thalamus doing its job, protecting you by keeping you inside what it knows. The problem is, what feels safe to your brain can be the very thing that's keeping you stuck. And you've probably seen this play out in your own life. You decide you're going to start speaking up more in meetings, and the first time you do, your heart races, your palm sweats, and afterwards your brain replays the moment on loop, searching for flaws. And that's not because you did something wrong, it's because your thalamus flagged the act of speaking up as unfamiliar and therefore risky. Or maybe you try to change your evening routine, and instead of scrolling late into the night, you plan to read for half an hour. But when bedtime comes, you find yourself back on your phone almost automatically. And that's not a lack of willpower, it's your brain pulling you back to the familiar pattern because it feels safer. Even with success, this shows up. You hit a big milestone, and instead of celebrating, your mind quickly moves on to the next challenge. Again, that's your thalamus saying, don't relax here. This is new, we can't stop. And when you understand this, it reframes everything. It's not that you're incapable of change, it's that your brain is doing what it's wired to do. And once you stop blaming yourself, you can start working with your biology instead of against it. So, how do you move past this resistance? The key is to stop treating change like a battle. If your brain sees novelty as unsafe, then the goal isn't to bulldoze through. It's to teach your nervous system that the new thing is safe enough to try again. And here's a simple practice you can use to do this. Step 1, shrink the change. Take the habit that you want to build and cut it in half, or even smaller. If you want to start journaling for 20 minutes, begin with 2. If you want to exercise for an hour, start with 5 minutes of stretching. The smaller it feels, the safer your brain will perceive it. Step 2, pair it with the familiar. Anchor the new habit to something that you already do. So if you always make a cup of tea first thing in the morning, add 2 minutes of journaling right after, because familiar routines act as a safety signal for the nervous system. Step 3, celebrate the micro win. So when you follow through, pause to notice it. Take a breath, say out loud, this is me showing up differently. That little acknowledgement teaches your brain new doesn't have to mean unsafe. And over time, this repetition rewires your system. The thalamus stops flagging the new habit as dangerous and instead starts to recognize it as part of your familiar landscape. And that's how change sticks. Not through force, but through safety. So here's the reframe. Change isn't hard because you're weak. It feels hard because your brain equates new with unsafe. And when you shrink the change, pair it with something familiar, and celebrate the micro wins, you gently teach your nervous system that new can also mean safe. And this is exactly what we work with inside the Purposeful Path. We create changes that don't just look good on the outside, but feel sustainable on the inside, because they're built with your brain and body in mind. And if today's conversation resonated with you, give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you next time.